This is every single Nintendo console that was released over the years. The first console that came out was the Color TV game. One game was available as a Pong-type game released in 1977. 3 million units were sold. They also released other versions with more games. 3 years later, in 1980, the Game & Watch came out. It contained 60 games, which is phenomenal for its time, with a staggering 43.4 million units sold. Another 3 years later, we had our first well-known console. The iconic NES was next. Even I played it as a kid in the 2010s. The NES was the first modern console with over 1,000 games and separate handheld controllers. This sold at an amazing 61.9 million units. In 1989, Nintendo came out with the Game Boy. This was the first pocket-like console that could be easily brought around with more than 1,000 games. It also sold even more at 118 million units. Continuing with the big names, the Super Nintendo in 1990 came out, with exclusives like Link to the Past and Mario Kart, along with 1,700 other games. However, only 49 million units were sold, as it was pretty big. Okay, this is taking long. Let's start moving along fast. Next was the Virtual Boy in 1995, with only 22 games and 700,000 units sold. Was a pretty big flop. Next was the Nintendo 64 in 1996. This one had only 385 games and 85 exclusives, but it did sell a good amount of 32 units. So the Game Boy Advance was a 2001 upgrade to the Game Boy, and it came with a staggering 1,500 games, and it sold a nice 81 million units too. The GameCube, another very iconic one, and well-selling, with 600 plus games, but it was pretty expensive, so only 21 million units sold. Another extremely iconic one and big name was the Nintendo DS in 2004. 4,000 games, a record high. It sold 154 million units. The Wii, another really good banger, that was introduced in 2006. It introduced Wii Sports, 1,600 games, and over 100 million units sold. The 3DS, a 2011 upgrade to the DS, which did amazing while releasing a lot of Pokemon exclusives. It had over 1,800 games and sold 75 million units. The Wii U, the 2012 Wii U was a pretty big flop, even though it had 1,300 games. 2DS. In 2013, the 2DS added over 3,500 games and basically lets you play the 3DS and DS games in 2D. The Nintendo Switch, the best-selling in most games in just 8 years. The Switch has 5,000 games from the eShop, a full-color LED screen with an insane 160 million units sold. Would be more if it didn't cost $300 though. The Switch 2, the yet to be released on June 5th, 2025, the Switch 2 will have multiple exclusives like Mario Kart 9, so we will talk about then. Bye. Tell me if I missed anything.